Hello, this is AstrologerCoach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming full moon on February 14th, which is also Valentine's Day at 6:53 p.m. East Coast time in the US, which is also New York time, and 3:53 p.m. West Coast time in the US, which is also LA time. Now, of course, the full moon is always an extroverted time. It's always a time where we're looking for balance. We're becoming aware that something's not in alignment, and so we're trying to figure out how can we get that need met that has been, neglected a little bit these past 2 weeks. Now, therefore, it's also a relationship-oriented time. We're working through things in our relationships. And with this full moon being in the Aquarius and Leo energy, this means that these two energies are a big part of that polarity and where we're seeking balance. Now, Aquarius, as I already talked about in my video 2 weeks ago, is all about our unique vision for the world, for our future, our unique approach to life. The Aquarian vision has to do with equality and collaboration with all people, that we are all individuals in our own right, but that we come together and contribute to a better world and to a higher vision on a collective level. And you know, that Aquarian energy very much also deals with, looking to see about the power of people coming together, gets strengthened by the diversity that each individual brings to that collective. And that's what Aquarius is all about. So it's the idea or the ideal of a great future. Leo, on the other hand, is very much about our individual self-expression, our individual connection to our creativity, how we create in the world, what we create in the world, and our ability to connect to our heart and to our inner joy. So it's very much about really the heart energy, and Aquarius is a little bit more about the head and the mind energy. But sort of the higher mind, the higher mind in the sense that we're wanting to create a higher future or a better future. Now, this full moon, there's some interesting questions that we can ask ourselves, of course, for this full moon. And one of them, to bring this Leo Aquarius energy together, is what if our heart already knew what it would look like to live from a very different way of thinking, seeing things, doing things in the world. What would that look like? If that were true, that our heart already knew the answer to all these questions, or to all these changes, then what would that different way be? So this is something you can ask yourself for this full moon. And then there's two T-squares that are connected with this full moon that are very important. One of them is a T-square that's connected to Uranus, which is the planet that rules Aquarius. And so Uranus is the focus point in a T-square with Jupiter and Pluto. And all T-squares are sort of like placements where we need to create a shift, and there is a sense of stress or challenge there that we need to overcome, where we need to step out of something that we normally do. We need to find creative solutions in order to make this energy work with each other. So we need to kind of find a new perspective. And in particular with, Uranus being the focus point, we really need to break away from old traditions. We need to break away from old ways of thinking about things and doing things, and we need to establish new understandings and new ideas, and maybe even new institutions and new ways of coming together. Now, the best way to deal with a T-square is always to look at the point opposite the focus planet. And in this case, this would be Libra. And so the Libra energy has to do with, collaborating with others, finding ways to create win-win situations, making peaceful efforts with other people, right? So this is something that's going to be very helpful in order to work with this T-square and to work with this maybe a little bit challenging and stressful energy. Now, this particular T-square is going to be in place for the next 10 weeks. And it's going to be exact in February and then again in April. But we will feel it pretty much for the next 10 weeks. And so this is clearly a message from the universe that change is very important. We need to create creative solutions, and we need to have the courage to step up and step into creating that change. It's really inevitable in a sense. Now, the first time we felt this particular T-square was last year in August. So think back to last year in August and think, what were some of the challenges that you were dealing with in your life? And where did you feel like you had to stretch yourself a little bit, or you had to think outside the box a little bit to make things work? And that will give you an idea of maybe what's coming this month and also in April. It may look a little bit differently, may be already on a different level, but still this needing to adjust yourself is still going to be there. Now, the second T-square with this full moon has to do with Saturn making a square to the full moon, to the sun and the moon in the chart. Now, this means that we really want to use our power and our resources wisely. We want to really make sure that we're not overextending ourselves or overspending ourselves in some way. But we also want to take responsibility for our part in things and really connect on a very deep level to ourselves. So it's kind of more of a private energy, of course, which is in contradiction to the full moon, which is more of an extroverted energy and more of an energy where we want to reach out to people and want to connect on an intellectual level, but also from our hearts. So in order to make this work, this kind of challenging T-square here, is to really find a way to get grounded in who we are, to get connected to what we have to offer to the world, to the gifts that we have to offer to the world, and really step into our own selves in a healthy way, in terms of our self-esteem and in terms of our boundaries that we need to implement with other people or situations in our lives. So to get really, we need to feel confident in ourselves and in what we do and what we have to offer. And that will help us with that T-square with Saturn, because Saturn really wants us to step into the world as an authentic adult, as someone who is really connecting to themselves truly and fully and passionately, and without making any excuses, without suppressing any energies inside of us. So again, this is, of course, a more internal process. So the full moon in relationship to that, which is more of an external process, that will feel a little bit challenging. So make sure that you find time to do both, to find time to do that inner journey and to do the outer journey as well, the outer connections. Now, the other thing with this full moon is that Mercury will be aligning with the sun in Aquarius. So we're definitely going to feel this Aquarian energy through that Mercury placement a little bit stronger as well. And so we're really being encouraged to think outside the box, and to be open to new visions, to new views, new ways of seeing ourselves in the world, and part of the human community. What do we bring to that community, and how can we see ourselves in that? And of course, this full moon does encourage us to get out of our comfort zones with all those T-squares, with all those challenging aspects. We're definitely getting pulled a little bit out of, like we need to shift, we need to change. So let's get out of our comfort zones. And we want to acknowledge that we're all in this together, that we're not alone, that we're not separate from other people, that everyone is experiencing that somewhere in their chart, and everyone is feeling this need to step up and to get out of their comfort zone. And so it's good to remind ourselves that we're not alone in this, and that we can we can connect to other people and talk to them about what they're going through and what they're experiencing. And maybe that will make things a little bit easier for each one of us. Now, of course, with getting out of our comfort zones, that means that we need to be uncomfortable for a little bit, right? And most of us don't like being uncomfortable, so we try to find ways to not be uncomfortable. But I want us to maybe think of being uncomfortable in a different light, in a different way, and think of it as progress. Think of it as being exciting. When you find yourself being uncomfortable, just look at it and see, wow, I'm actually not in my comfort zone right now, and this is exciting. I'm moving forward. I'm moving into a better future. I am going somewhere where I haven't been before. And this is progress, and this is wonderful, because that means if we can do that, that means we can create a better future for ourselves. If we stay in our comfort zones, we're not going to be making any changes, and we're not going to be able to create a better future. Then everything will just stay exactly the same, or maybe get a little bit worse. So it is really important for us to celebrate being uncomfortable, because that's key. It's key in being able to go there and create that future that we all want. Now, Mercury will also be retrograde at the time of the full moon. So it is important to honor the internal process, to really tap into our intuition when it comes to this new vision, when it comes to these new ways of thinking and doing things. We want to tap into that from the inside out. We don't need to ask other people what that new vision needs to be for us. We need to know what that new vision is for us from the inside out, right? And that's very important. We can share, of course, but we really need to find that vision within ourselves. Now, the full moon asks of us to really add our voice, our hands, and our gifts to the world. So really ask yourself, what is my role in this pivotal time on Earth? How can I be an instrument of contributing to creating this better future? And what would that look like, and what would that feel like for me personally? So if you have 24 to 28 degrees of Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio in your natal chart, if you have personal planets or personal points, which is, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, the ascendant, or also called the rising sign, or the career point, which is on the top of your chart, it's also called the MC. So if you have any of those in those degrees and signs, then the full moon will feel very strongly in your case for the next 2 weeks. But we all feel the full moon somewhere in our chart, and certainly we will be feeling those 2 T-squares somewhere in our chart. So each one of us is experiencing a little bit this sense of needing to stretch, needing to change, needing to create some solutions that are out of the norm. So if you need any kind of support with understanding that a little bit better, or knowing how to deal with that a little bit better, please feel free to reach out for a reading or for a healing or coaching session with me. You can find that on my website. All the services are listed there, so whatever works best for you. At astrologercoach.com/services.html. I'll be very happy to support you. And one other thing that I would like to share, which I'm very, very excited about, is that I will be doing a 3-day retreat in Sedona in the end of May, Memorial Day weekend, which is May 23rd through the 26th. And I will be doing this with the fabulous Krista Mitchell, who is a rock whisperer. She works with crystals and with the Akashic Records. And so this will be a fantastic weekend that will be all about the life of the soul. It will be all about activating, uncovering, and living your true purpose. And so if you are at all curious about doing that or wanting to know more about that, I will be sending out a flyer or some more information about this within the next 2 weeks. So this is just a heads up. If you are currently not on my mailing list or you're not receiving my emails, but you want to hear about this retreat and get more details, then please send me an email right away and let me know that you want that. My email is sonja@astrologercoach.com. That's SONJA@astrologercoach.com. All right. I'm looking forward to being in touch again in the next couple of weeks with the next new moon, which will be in Pisces. So have a fantastic full moon in Leo. Connect, celebrate, have some fun, and really pay attention to when you're feeling uncomfortable and honor it and celebrate it as the thing that it is, which means that you're expanding and that you're moving away from the old you into a new future. All right, so have a fantastic full moon. This is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Goodbye.